How you look or appear has everything to do with how you feel. In the little pine tree, the tree wants to change her look. She somehow believes that her appearance is not magnificent and makes her feel disappointed. She wishes for a change in her leaves to make her feel happier. She is overjoyed by her new appearances, as they are granted. Unfortunately, each time her leaves are destroyed, she becomes depressed. Eventually, she realizes that her appearance is not what will bring her happiness. Then she understands that she was beautiful the way she was made. To express this message, we used art and music. In art class, we created power poses to demonstrate the tree feeling strong. And in music class, we created recorder pieces to represent the emotions of the tree when she was grieving.
In PE, we did yoga, and then in art, we talked about power poses.
Which ones were uncomfortable and which ones we felt most powerful and strong?
And so now we're using the power poses in art for trees.
And we're making up for different adjectives. And so, strong, brave, this.
What inspired the art that I and my group made was Bianca Beck. This inspired me because I like that her art is very abstract and unique, and it's very colorful, and it gave me a nice, good vibe, and it had a lot of positivity in it.
So what inspired the art was so there are power poses that are good and kind of have a lot of negative space, and then the non-power poses are kind of uptight where there's not really much negative space. And then there's sound suits that are protecting you from the outside.
When we learned about Nick Cave and his sound suits, it inspired me to make my art for the 5th grade show more colorful and different.
They inspired me because people see you differently on the outside, and the sound suits see you as the inside.
Inspiration words are words we came up with to describe what the piece of music was about. We then chose instruments that would best go with the words and made the piece of music.
So for the robbers music, we did different words like sly and sneaky and quiet. And then after that, we took instruments that we thought went with those words, and then we put them together in different sound effects to make the robber music.
The music that art class created was about a group of deer grazing in the forest. We came up with inspiration words such as graceful, nimble, and majestic, and then tried to figure out how these words could be expressed through music.
Some things that inspired the music we created was the tree's feelings. It inspired us because the tree had different feelings every day and every night. The gender of the tree changes how we interpret the story, because if you consider the tree a she, a stereotype might think the tree is judging herself and comparing herself to women or girls on social media. If you consider the tree a he, then a stereotype might think the tree is worried about how strong he is and how muscular he is. The gender matters a lot because of how stereotypical people can be when interpreting the gender of the little pine tree.
I feel like if you do say she, it will help the girls in the lower grades see that you don't have to be pretty. But I also feel like some boys that are in the audience can have this feeling too. If you say boy or girl, he or she, I feel like it will be biased toward the other gender. Since I feel this way, I think we should say a name that does not have a gender to it. For example, Andy or Alex.
I feel like if you made the tree a she, it would be way too stereotypical, because most people in the world already think girls care about the way they look way too much. They already think that we are ungrateful. They already think that we are too needy and that most of us are the same. That's why I think we should make the tree an it, and to make the audience use their imagination.
Our goal today is to share the message and not just the story. I think this is important to share because a lot of people are insecure, and this message could help someone if they're struggling with insecurities.
It's okay to be different.
That is important because it lets you know that even if you are different from others, it's okay, and it doesn't change a thing. Sometimes that difference is what makes you special.
I think that the lesson of this story is you can't be afraid of yourself. This is important to share because people don't always love themselves for themselves, but they should, and that makes this lesson very important.
The tree is afraid of standing out too little and never being noticed.
The tree is afraid of accepting herself.
One of the messages is that you are perfect just the way you are. You were made this way for a reason, and if you try to change, then you might be taking the risk of losing the real you.
I think she levels up when she starts to understand that looks are not everything, and that is part of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-confidence.
So in order to portray the message, you must accept your whole self in order to share and serve others. We made all the trees look different and the middle tree look very sad. So then eventually it grew and it could help the children around it and the trees around it in the way that the trees around the little pine tree could help the little pine tree.
So the tree goes, in the beginning, he's obsessed with his looks and he's focusing more on the outside than the inside. And then he starts to realize that what's more important is on the inside and the personality. And then finally he can reach the highest level and help others and be a part of the forest.
In order to make sure that everybody was involved in the process of creating the performance, sometimes we split up into partners or into small groups, and sometimes we would make decisions as a full grade or class. I think we did a good job of incorporating every person's ideas and opinions into our dances and artwork.
The way that we included everyone's ideas for the 5th grade show was we first took out everyone's ideas, and then we came up with a solution of how to combine everyone's ideas so that they made something that everyone was happy and satisfied with.
Our ideas for the foliage was that we made fear masks for our own fears, and mine was standing out too much. And we got our inspirations from our fear mask because it connects to the trees, how the tree feels about itself.
The tree's personal fear is how it looks on the outside. It wants to look perfect and be better than things around it. This translates to things it doesn't like about itself because the tree is scared to show what it looks like, unless it looks perfect to others.
The part of the design process that was most comfortable for me was when we were trying to put on the gold leaves because I could put the slots on the cardboard.
The most comfortable part of the design process was painting and making the foliage on the trees. It was comfortable for me because my group, it made it really easy for us to put it together because we were really good with our ideas, and our colors and the patterns, they just came right away to us, and that was the most easiest part.
I liked making the art because it gets very creative and it tells a lot about the trees.
Each tree has a strong pose showing their personality. Each tree has a unique pose. We call them power poses.
To level up from self-esteem to self-actualization, we made 4 trees to show 4 characteristics that you would want in a friend.
Captivating, positive, optimistic, accepting, problem solver, grateful.
Creative, imaginative, inspirational, open-minded, honest, authentic, adaptable.
The cheerful, joyous, sweet, humorous, happy, flexible, easygoing, and kind tree.
Confident, brave, determined, balanced, and strong.
So I thought that it would be a lot harder to work with everyone, but the teachers really guide you, so it's a lot easier to do it, and
you really have to like work together as like a team.
My favorite part of the production is when we pull it all together so I can see everything that we made and how it all looks.
Well, it's sort of like, like everyone sort of has to like cooperate, so a lot of your ideas don't get used, but then in the end it looks really cool.